Hi, I'm Linda Sheff, and I live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. My mother was a longtime Galvestonian, and my father actually was from St. Louis, Missouri, and he moved down to Galveston for his first job as a newspaper reporter. And he and my mother were fixed up on a blind date by family friends. They eventually moved to Houston. My father worked for the Houston Chronicle as a night city editor for 44 years. My mother was a very hands-on mother in the traditional housewife sense. Three girls are always wanting their parents' time. And when my mother was mid-70s, I guess, I noticed that she was having some issues with memory and some confusion, and my family also noticed. And I started on my journey at that point, just learning a little bit more about dementia and eventually Alzheimer's. And I started looking into locations in Houston and identifying certain things to look for when you're looking for a senior living community. Some of those things were continuum of care, because Alzheimer's is a progressive disease. You want to make sure that person can age appropriately through the different levels. The other consideration was location and close proximity to my family, and ultimately a place that my father could move into when it was his time to do so. Before my mother died, my father did move into assisted living at Belmont, and he was taken care of. They had all these activities, and he was going to see my mother several times a day. He'd go participate in her activities with her, and then he'd have his own. And so he really got integrated both in the assisted living area, but also still being part of my mother's life. And so they spent basically her last year together, and it was like a love story rejuvenated, because they were able to see each other, and he didn't have to do the heavy lifting that he was doing before. As my rabbi told me, he was a loving caregiver, but not a skilled one. And there is a big difference. The burden was removed, and he was able to just spend joyful time with her. Just seeing that tenderness and that sweetness, particularly at the end of their lives, was just a real blessing for us.